They got a long way to go. It's a pretty bad situation. It's hard for me because you got to remember, I've known Ernie Grunfeld for over 20 years. I got a lot of respect and a lot of love for the man, but the bottom line is that no one can argue that this was the right decision, considering the lack of success that they have had, the fact that they were appearing to go nowhere. We can point to a lot of things. He's not the only one to blame, but clearly he's not blameless. It goes back to the days of Gilbert Arenas, for crying out loud. That ended up being a foolhardy decision, not for basketball reasons, but Gilbert Arenas' behavior. John Wall hasn't panned out as of yet, got $170 million. He's slipping on soaps or in the tub or whatever the hell happened to him. And you've got people talking about him right now and how that wasn't a good thing. I believe in John Wall. The jury is still out with him.
And he might miss next season.
And he may miss next season, which, by the way, quietly, from what I'm hearing, the Wizards are practically hoping that because the insurance will pick up about 80% of his salary. They won't have to pay it to Leonce's pocket. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying. But you also have this situation. You had two things that happened. Otto Porter and that contract, over $100 million. The Nets offered it to him. The Wizards felt compelled to sign. From my understanding, Bogdanovic, who they had there, that was a pretty damn good player as well. You couldn't keep him for $9 million because obviously Ted Leonsis didn't want to trigger the tax. And that's why he has to be held accountable for this as well. But in the end, you look at Ernie Grunfeld, and you've been in the league for decades, and you've been an executive for over 30 years. And there's no NBA championship to show for it. The Knicks had a couple of chances, but it didn't pan out. But in the end, that's what it comes down to. So now you've got situations. Joe Dumars should be looked at. David Griffin, former GM for the Cavs, should be looked at. Tommy Shepard, who worked under Grunfeld, is now interim right there. I'm told he's going to get consideration for the job. Ed Tapscott might want to throw his name into the hat. Troy Weaver, out of OKC, working under Sam Presti, Max. He's a guy that will be in the mix. The guy that works under Danny Ainge in Boston. These are all guys that are going to be considered. A search firm has been hired by Ted Leonsis. The reason why he fired Ernie Grunfeld yesterday is because The Athletic revealed that Ted Leonsis had hired a search firm. That wasn't supposed to get out. They got the information, put it out. And as a result, Ted Leonsis felt compelled to tell Ernie because he didn't want Ernie to just dangle in the wind for the last week.
Let me tell you the fastest thing they could do to get back to good, and I'm talking about it's going to take about 5 years, Stephen A. Hire Sam Hinkie. They are in salary cap hell right now. Yeah. I'm going to quickly make the pro-Ernie Grunfeld argument, and then I'm going to explain why he was terrible. Real quick. The pro argument is this. If you're an executive for 16 years and you make 8 playoffs, there are 16 playoff teams a year out of a league of 30 teams. You're slightly better than 50-50 to make the playoffs just on average. And he made the playoffs half the time. And he advanced in the playoffs half of those times. So overall, that's like a slightly below average, generic kind of NBA franchise. It sounds like he's not the worst, right? But I don't even want to lay out the argument. I'll just refer people. Albert Bernico in Deadspin lays out the anti-Grunfeld argument. Oh, my God, it's scorched earth. It's bad move after bad move after bad move. It sounds like me talking about, like, Dolan or something.
Who's this?
Alex Bernico on Deadspin.
Gotcha.
It's bad move after bad move after bad move. Worse salary cap problems. Getting rid of players and getting them back when they're not as good anymore and giving up a lot to get players who aren't good. And bad plans and like fly-by-night, it seems, ideas, or even when you think you have a plan, it's just ill-conceived. It was high time they got out of there. But here's the real problem, Stephen A. They have John Wall on, like, the worst deal in sports right now. Either John Wall, the only way for them to be good as is currently constituted is John Wall needs to emerge better than ever before. If John Wall winds up the version that we hoped he could turn into if he developed a jump shot, then they would have a chance. But that ain't going to be next year anyway. That'd be the year after next. They're better off hiring Sam Hinkie and tanking for a while, really.
You know, the thing that's sad about it is this. You could point to those moves, and I'm certainly not, there's no denying that there's a whole bunch of questionable things that happened in the nation's capital. There's just no denying it. But the flip side to it, where I feel bad, is that a couple of years ago, I'm in Boston for Game 7 of the conference semifinals. at Boston, okay? And John Wall is balling lights out for the first 3 quarters, and he's got nothing left in the 4th quarter. I'm looking at a guy like Bradley Beal. He can ball. And you look at them and you just say to yourself, if John Wall was healthy and had stepped up, okay, if Gilbert Arenas hadn't happened, meaning with the guns and all of this other stuff, you look at things like that and you see things that could have glossed over some of those mistakes. But he invested in those guys. And we ain't even talking about basketball. We're talking about injuries, or we're talking about stupidity that ultimately
or even
cost
Otto
the franchise.
Porter.
Otto Porter, $106 million over 4 years. Bogdanovich, again, lost him for $9 million.
At least they have Bradley Beal.
That's all they had.
Yeah.
Look, Washington.
That's all they had.
Washington is now another pretty big market. Like, the Knicks have been so bad for so long, it hurts the NBA. When the Lakers aren't good, it hurts. When the Chicago Bulls aren't good, it hurts. These are major markets that are kind of being alienated, their fan bases.
They need a full rebuild, no question.